Sound selection is one of the most neglected aspects of music making, especially for a beginner. Sound selection is the key between an average track and a really good track. This is the melody that I'm going to be reviewing today. Now this melody pretty much only consists of 3 VSTs, so that means you can also do it today. If you haven't seen my last video, go check it out up here. I showed you a couple other VSTs that were absolutely free that you can use, so go watch that first. So let's jump straight into it this time, and let's go. Okay, so here we are inside of FL Studio. Now, the first thing I did with this beat is the piano, so we're just gonna take a listen to this on its own right now. So this is like a fairly complex pattern right here, but it sounds really crisp. And the plugin that I used is called Labs. This is in the top of the description, so download it straight away. Labs is amazing. This is the tip piano capstan upright, which I used today. Now this sounds bloody lovely, okay? And it's got a nice wobble to it. So how did I come up with this pattern? Well, I started with a bass line, so when like that, that's the progression, B and then to G, then to A. I started out with the minor chord and then delayed the last 2 notes like this, so it's like, just to add like a more realistic, like a nicer effect, just to make it sound cool. Then I added this little melody tone here. Yeah, so I was really trying to create like a dark, eerie bit here. And then it goes straight into a major chord, so I actually switched the chords. This is very popular in samples like Nami and Coupe de Truth, which is where most of the inspiration's from. Yeah, so then I just played that chord and then went crazy over here. So if we go to the effects channel here, as you can see, this is everything that's on my piano for the start. So I've cut all of the bass here, as you can see, and a little bit of the high end. This is to give it more of a nostalgic and like gritty old school type feel. Then I used Cymatics Origin, which is a free plugin, which you'll see me using a lot. Turn the saturation all the way down, but I got the movement, which is kind of like the wobble, and I cut basically half the frequency right here. This is what it does. This is what it sounds like originally. So it very much degrades the sound in order to get that same style I want. I then loaded up RC20. Now, if you don't have RC20, Cymatics Origin is perfect. I just really like the vinyl and wobble that they have. I already had like a wobble filter on the Cymatics Origin, but I really like the way this one sounds. Now, I already added the RC20. I already added distortion with RC20, but there's plenty of free distortion plugins and saturation plugins. One of my favorite free saturation plugins is called the saturation knob. So I'm just going to pull this up right now. Knob. So yeah, this is it. It's literally just one knob and these here, which can sound nice in certain cases, but I wouldn't overuse it. It's free as well. The next thing, well, the final thing that I added was a little bit of reverb. Now, Labs comes with reverb and you can actually change the settings on here. So if we go over here and then you hover over this, if you start moving it, if you look at the top left, it shows you what it does. So that's dynamics. This is expression. Now, if you click this middle button right here, you can see the different effects for it. So we've got reverb, noise. This already has some noise, and I added even more noise because I just wanted it to be more prevalent in the beat. There's already a little bit of reverb on here, but I felt like it needed more, and I wanted to have more control than just this dial. So yeah, so that's what I did there. So that really like drives the beat, and with samples like this one that I'm making here, simplicity is key, and you want to use a lot of textures to build from it. So next up, I used a guitar. Now this is from a one-shot kit. I'm not actually sure where I got this one-shot kit from. But yeah, so here is the guitar. It was absolutely free though. It says, I'll try and find it and put it in the description. So here we go. So this is what it sounds like. Oh, let me actually take it off the mixer. So it sounds like this. And with all my effects, it sounds like, wow. The difference is difference is sick. Whoa. Yeah, so a lot of beats, you really want to focus on the effects, but it's hard when you don't have the money for plugins. So this is why these are all stock on here. So let's go to where it is. It's this one on the fourth one. So this has a lot of effects. So I'm going to run through them really quickly, but you can just straight up copy the settings if you like, then edit them. So here we go. We've got an EQ, which is cutting off the lows and the highs again for the same reasons, but just as like a slope because I didn't want to completely cut them off. Next up, we have reverb, which is really exaggerated because I wanted it to be more of like a texture rather than a leading instrument. Next up, we have a flangus because a flangus makes it go something like that. So then we got the fruity chorus here. So these are all stock plugins, remember? These settings are really like, yeah. I put in another fruity EQ to again remove those frequencies if they crept back in. And then finally, we have a fruity filter to end. So if you essentially just copy all of that, it will give you like an underwater feel. If you actually want to know what each plugin in FL does, I can go through all of them in a video or a series of videos. If you'd like that, let me know. But right now, I'm just showing you about sound selection. So yeah, I had to be very meticulous with what guitar I wanted to use in mind, knowing the effects. So it sounds like... So it sounds nice like that. It's really just a nice little effect. Now we've got the nylon shimmer guitar. This is using flex, which is again free. So we're just going to listen to this. Now I'm pretty sure all I did for this was copy the... Oh no, I didn't. There's literally... That's it. There's no more effects on it. My bad. And I cut out a lot of the bass and the highs for, again, the same reasons. For these types of samples, you want to get rid of the low ends and the high ends most of the time because you're trying to get that gritty vintage vibe. And that's all I really wanted for this beat. So let's listen to that on its own. Very cool. It's just a nice little texture. So let's add it with the rest. Okay, next up, this one actually isn't free. This is a contact plugin. But there is a free alternative, and it's called Flex. So we just use Flex for the nylon shimmer. But if you go over to Flex, and then you download the essential guitars, there's so many, like, guitars in here, which is what I used for that sound, that are just really, really, really good. So... there's like an acoustic guitar like this. Let me just put on. So that's really clean. With like a couple effects, you can get that sounding nice. Then you got like metal chords. Shit. Then you got like this. Yeah, just go through them and find like things that you like, because I'm sure you will. But what this sounds like here is... I just copied a few of the notes at the end to just give it more texture. That's basically the point of this whole this whole sample. You just want to be very simple with it. Now, I essentially copied the same effects. All I did was absolutely nothing. There's just a missing slot here. Okay, I don't know why that is, but it's the same as the other guitar, the exact same effects. I literally, if you go up here, hover over file, you can drag and drop this wherever you want to copy the effects. If I put it here, it's going to copy the effects. So that's all I did. Yeah. So now let's listen with those together. Very, very nice. It's very subtle, but it adds a lot. Now, next up, I added a choir. This is, again, a labs sound. So it's completely free. You can use this today. All you have to do is download it. So let's click on it. This is called Micah's Choir, the choir. So yeah, I just wanted the choir to give it more of like a lively feel. Let's go over to the effects. Now again, I'm just essentially copying the effects that I'd done earlier, but in a different way. So it has a very exaggerated reverb, the same flanges, chorus, and delay and filter. But a slightly different EQ because I wanted to keep some of that high end as the high end texture in the voice. So yeah, just when you're making these beats, keep in mind you want to make as many textures as possible and keep it simple. So yeah, let's listen to these together now. Now these notes are just G, F. So if we go up to here, it goes G, F. Well, G, F sharp, sorry, my bad. Yeah, so I'm essentially, in all of these sounds, I'm just copying the chords from the very, very beginning with the piano, because that's what's really driving the beat, and I just wanted to texturize that. So let's listen now. Now the next two sounds, well, the next two VSTs that I used were actually featured on the previous VST video, and these both are free. So this one is the ample percussion drum. I'm going to show you without any effects on. So yeah, this is pretty basic here. This is pretty basic here. All I did was copy the first two bits of the chord and repeat them in that like basic pattern. So I was just copying the first two notes of the chord, the bottom two notes. So it goes minor then major. To make this really, really sound good and more of like a texture and more of like part of the beat, I added again Sparkz Origin to degrade the sound. This looks like the exact same preset right here. It's the lo-fi preset. Then I added a little bit of reverb here just to exaggerate the sound a little more. And the killer right here is the halftime. Now, if you don't have halftime, you might have gross beat, which you can do the same thing on in FL Studio. But if you're looking for a plugin that you want to invest in, halftime is definitely the one. I love it. It works so well on lots of sounds and can flip samples from sounding just, well, you heard how it sounded. Now let's listen. Woof. Clean and is so simple, but when they're all played together, take a listen to this. Oof. When you really pull it back, like you can kind of appreciate how all the simple sounds make it sound really cool and complex, but it's not that complex. Like you could do it today. You could start this today and do something like this. And yeah, go for it, man. But anyway, so the final thing I added was bass, and I used the ample bass guitar, which was also featured in the last video. Go into this knob here. I do that a lot in my beats. So yeah, I followed literally just the bottom note of each chord. Yeah, and I played D at the end because it kind of goes G, A, then D, like that. So then if you look here, G, A, then D. So yeah, that's pretty much just how I made the bass. So let's listen to it all together. So that sounds clean, right? Well, I hope you think it sounds clean. I don't think you would have watched this far into the video if you don't think it sounds clean from the beginning. But yeah, I wonder if you like this this more chill style of video, because like the other videos were kind of different. I don't know. I'm just kind of breaking down a beat. The other ones were more like I was creating a beat with you, and it was kind of, I don't know. Let me know what you think about this video, and if you think it's better than the other ones, or if I should do more stuff. Just let me know, and I can do it. So for the actual sample, I exported it, so I just dragged it all and pressed Ctrl-Alt-C, apart from the bass, and I pitched it up 2 semitones. So let's listen to it now. I just thought it sounded way cleaner like that, and in the intro it was kind of darker, then it comes in like this, so it goes... So yeah, I really hope this helped. I'll cover some more probably in the next couple videos. One of them I will cover like drum sounds to use, like all my drum sounds that I like to use and ones that you can use as well, and I can like put them in the description, show you which ones are nice, all that stuff. I just want to give you as much stuff for free as possible to get you started, get you inspired making music. I really hope this video helped, and if you watched the entire way, I really appreciate you. Yeah, you don't have to like, you don't have to subscribe, but if you do, I really appreciate it, and it helps me out a lot. Go comment and let me know what you think, and I don't know how to do an outro, but yeah, so I hope that helped. All right, cool. Goodbye, guys. Boo, 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 boo.